Hi, this is Gary Williams with a few more Cabaret Secrets quick tips for you. And today I want to talk to you about how to talk to an audience, the chat. A friend of mine, Marcus Reeves, calls it the glue in between the songs. It's the glue that makes it all work. The chat, the talk, is really, I think, the most important part of a cabaret show. I think it's maybe more important or just as important as the songs that you sing. You know, anybody can sing songs. There are lots of people that can sing very, very well. But just to sit and watch somebody sing beautifully for a couple of hours for 2 sets, of course it's nice, but for me that's not what cabaret is all about. Cabaret is all about the way that you communicate and that you connect with an audience, and you do that from the things that you say in between the songs. That, I think, is where all the magic is. That's where most of your personality is going to come through, and hopefully it's a personality that they want to listen to and want to enjoy. So for chat, there are 4 different types. You can give them just straight information. There are personal anecdotes. There are famous, well-worn anecdotes from other people. And then there's comedy, telling jokes. Information, it's just stuff like, oh, this song was written in this year, it sold this many records, it was written by this person, it was from this show, all that stuff. Okay, it's mildly interesting, but I would say use it sparingly during a show. You're not there to give them a history lesson. No one's come out for that. They've come because they want to be entertained. So if you're falling back on stuff like this was written by in this year, this was a hit, this was covered by, you're probably not doing well. You could probably do a lot better. And where the magic is in the personal anecdotes. I've said in a previous quick tip video that a show, whatever your theme is, whatever songs that you're singing, the show, your cabaret show, needs to be all about you. You are the theme. You are why people are spending money coming through the door. So if you can say, rather than saying, oh, this song was written in this year and it sold this many records, tell them why that song is special to you, why you're singing it, why it's meaningful to you. When you first heard the song, the way it made you feel, what was going on in your life, maybe you saw the artist and they sang this song, or where you were when you first heard it. Just say what makes the song special to you. Anecdotes that you've got about that. Famous anecdotes, well, they can be useful as well. I've bought a few books of famous quotes or funny stories relating to songs, or just by reading a lot about various artists, you'll come across interesting, funny little stories, and they can be good to share with others, or whether it's little quotes which can be sort of quick one-liners, or just interesting anecdotes about how a song has been created. Comedy is a tricky thing. There are a couple of Cabaret Secrets podcasts about comedy. I'm not a comedian, so I don't try and tell jokes. And even if I could tell jokes, and even I had some great jokes, the way that my show is, it's not really appropriate to be doing jokes as a comedian might. I do have gags, I have lines, I sort of have jokes, but I present them in a very natural way. Instead of saying, a fellow went into a bar and do the joke, I might introduce my pianist, I might introduce a member of the band, and I will tell the same joke, the same punchline, but about that member of the band, say, or a member of the audience. I'll make it very natural. Or I will say, yesterday when I was packing my bags to come here to do this, something happened, which makes it sound very real and very natural, rather than me just doing stand-up. Now, the chat, talking, the links between songs, is the part that most singers have the most trouble with. Most singers that come to me for help can already sing beautifully. That's not the problem. But the reason they're not getting the reaction that they want from an audience is because they're not used to talking. They don't know how to do it. Everybody's got their own way of doing this. But first of all, I would stress to you that just because you're not born natural with a natural ability to talk to an audience, don't give up, because nobody is. I certainly wasn't. People will come and watch me work and they'll say, yeah, but it's easy for you. You can just do it. You've just got a flair for it. You've got the gift of the gab. And that really annoys me, because it's kind of like laziness on their part, because what they don't see, what they don't recognize, is the hours and hours and hours that I've spent working on a little bit of chat. And I still do that now. If I come up with a new bit of chat, I start start working on my Christmas shows usually in about April or May time, and the reason I do it is because I'll script it and I'll spend months and months practicing it and bedding it in and working on it so that it's so natural. I've done it so many times that by the time I'm doing it in front of an audience, it just sounds very real. But I can only do that if I've practiced it and prepared it enough. It does not just come naturally. Fred Astaire, anybody that's great at what they do, when you see Fred Astaire dancing in these movies, oh, it looks so easy, it looks so effortless. Well, of course it does. It should do. We don't want to watch somebody working on stage performing and go, whoa, that looks hard. If we're thinking that, then they're not doing it well enough. It wants to look effortless. But of course, the hours and hours that Fred Astaire would put into perfecting all of those moves meant that it looked so easy and effortless for it. So I would say prepare and practice. Don't just give up if it's not natural to you now. I like to script a show. I type up a script, and then as I practice it, I go back to the script. I'll have it in front of me on the computer, and if I feel that I want to pause in a particular place, I'll put a comma or an ellipsis there, or start a new paragraph. If I want to put a little and an R in there, I will put that in there. I'll actually put that in the script. This is the way I like to work. So what's written down ends up being exactly what I say, including the punctuation, and then I'll do it so often that it becomes completely natural. So instead of saying something like Frank Sinatra has always been a big influence on my life, and here's a song that I first heard him perform when I was 25 years old. It's always been a great favourite of mine. It left a big impact on me, and then I sing the song. It's fine. If I say, Frank Sinatra has always been a huge influence on my life, and I can remember when I was 25 years old, I was putting on some records, I heard this song, it was so impactful for me at the time, and it really left a great impression on me, and because of that reason I love to sing it. It means such a lot to me when I sing this song, and I'd like to do it now for you. If I say that instead of, in this year this happened and that happened, it sounds so much more natural, but that comes from practicing. Now, a lot of people will say to me, particularly younger performers, when they come to me for help, they'll say, I haven't got any personal anecdotes, I haven't got anything to talk about, really, I haven't really done anything. Well, I would say think hard about that, because most often there is something. There are a lot of things, a lot of little personal stories about our own journey that can be used in a show that are interesting to people. A great example, I had a girl come to me, a violinist, very good, accomplished violinist. She wasn't getting the reaction in her show that she thought that she should. She looked amazing, she played very well, and she said she didn't really have anything to talk about. So I'm asking her questions about how she started and her journey from how she started to where she is now. And she's telling me just in conversation that her father passed away when she was quite young. I think it was maybe around 18 or something like that. And she was having violin lessons. She loved the violin, but they were quite a poor family. They didn't have much money, and the violin that she had wasn't very good. Her father believed passionately in her talent, and it was his dying wish that she should be a great violinist. And in fact, he left all of his money to her with the express wish that she should go out and spend all of that money on a wonderful violin, and that she should further her studies. She's telling me this story, and I'm completely engaged by this. And I said, well, what happened? She said, well, of course, I did get the violin. It was a beautiful violin, and I took lessons, and I, started playing with various orchestras, and now I'm doing this. Now, in her show at that time, she was very fabulous and sort of showbizy and pizzazzy, and she played an electric violin, which looked great and had a sort of more contemporary sound. So what I suggested that she did was play the electric violin just as she was doing throughout her show. And then at the end, when she's done her, if you saw the tips that we did about structuring a show, I like to finish a show with a really big number, even bigger still, and then the biggest thing that you've got, chat, thank the audience, tell a little bit of a story, and then finish with something emotional. So in her bit of chat at the end, I told her to share this story with the audience about how she started, about her father, how her father passed away, left her this money, she bought this violin which managed to, for her to realise her dream. And I said at the back of the stage, sitting there for the whole time, should be the violin, the actual acoustic violin that she bought with her father's money. And when she's finished telling this story, she should turn around. I'm actually going goosebumpy just telling you this now, literally. She should turn around, put down her electric violin, pick up the beautiful wooden acoustic violin, bring it back, show it to the audience. This is the violin that I bought, and that's why every time I play the violin, I think of my father, and I want to finish the show now with a sincere tribute to my father wherever he is. This is for him, because without him I wouldn't be able to share my great passion, my love of music with you tonight. Oh, and she told me that she didn't have any stories to tell. It's a killer story, a great way to end a show. So think hard about your own life, about your own experiences, and I'm sure that you're going to find some great personal anecdotes that you can share with an audience that are interesting, which are engaging, and which are going to help you to get a standing ovation, because she told me that after she used that at the end of her show, she got a standing ovation, and she has got standing ovations at nearly all of her shows on cruise ships since, because of where she puts that chat. So, sorry this wasn't a very quick tip, it was another quite long tip, but I hope you found it useful. This is Gary Williams. You can find out more information at cabaretsecrets.com. There are lots of podcasts there for you. You can subscribe to the Cabaret Secrets YouTube channel, and I'll see you next time.